Algebra 2 Honors, this is your page 1 of Unit 1.5 review. So first of all, that is the input of -2. So if I go to the graph at -2, the output is 1. If I go to 3, 1, 2, 3, the input is 3, the output is right on the line, 0. Here I'm starting with the output, or the y. So then I don't go along the x-axis, I move along the y-axis, okay, and I go up to 3, 3, and so I go over to the graph right here, and it's at 2. So the input there is 2. So then this point would read as -2, 1. This would be 3, 0. And then this, remember, we were looking for the x, so we'd actually put 2 first, because 2, 3. Name 2 points where the y value is repeated. Okay, well, we're just looking for 2 points that are on the same level, and that would be these 2 points here. So that would be, first one would be -2 and 1, and the other would be 1 and 1. Okay, now given the following points on the graph, fill in the tables and graph of each new function. Well, all I'm doing is putting these points on this graph. So first one, -2 and 5, 1, -1 and 3, okay, and then 0, -1. Okay, and as you do this, I want you to label them. So -2 and 5, -1 and 3, 0, -1, 1 down 4, so that's this one here, 1, -4, then 2, 0, and then just 3 and 6. 3 up to 6. Okay? And now we have to fill in the table. But remember, there's a transformation here, so we need to include that. So first, this is outside of the parentheses, so this is changing the output, or the y. So all we have to do is look at which point has -2 for the x and just add 3 to that y. Okay, so that would be the first point. So all I'm going to do is add 3. So 5 plus 3 is 8.
Evacuate.
Okay. Pause. I had to leave because of the fire alarm that went off on Tuesday. So back to this one on number 2. Okay, so what we were doing is we're adding 3 to the output. So the output for -1 was 3, so we add 3, that's 6. Okay, output for 0 was -1, we add 3, it's 2. Output for 1 is -4, add 3, it's -1. Again, we're just adding 3 to each output. And for the output for 2 was 0, so we add 3 to that, 0 plus 3. And then the the output for 3 was 6, so 6 plus 3 is 9. Okay, now this was outside, this changes inside. Okay, this changes the input. Okay, so what you first need to do, and like I've been doing in class, is what I like to do is make another column for the input. Now just remember that your x for each coordinate is going to be this first number, and then your y is going to be this number. But first we need to come up with a new input. Okay, so first what we're going to do is -1/2 times 4, or sorry, times -4. Okay, that is 2. Okay, that cancels off the 2. So then 2, I go over here on the chart, and 2 gives me 0. Okay, so my new point, again, the input is -4 and 0. So first, again, what I'm doing is I'm changing the input, okay, so I can figure out what the output is. So now -2 times 1/2, or either way, okay, that becomes 1. Okay, sorry you guys can't see it. It's 1. Okay, and if I go up here, 1 gives me -4. So now the point is be 0 and -4. Sorry for the interruption. Still against the announcements over the intercom. Okay, so now it's 0, or negative 1/2 times 0, which is just 0, and it will give me basically the same output. For 0 would be negative 1. So 0, negative 1 stays the same. Okay, so now I plug in 2, negative 1/2 times 2, that's going to give me negative 1, and negative 1 gives me 3. So again, 2 and 3. Then for 4, negative 1/2 times 4, that's going to be negative 2, and then negative 2 gives me 5. So 4, 5. Okay, and then the last column is 6, so negative 1/2 times 6, that gives me negative 3, and then where's negative 3? Well, there is no negative 3 for the input, so what I'm going to do is change this to negative 6, make that negative 6, and that way this becomes positive 3, so that we do have an input. Okay, so we'll have 6 there. So our next one would be negative 6 and 6. Okay, so really all you had to do though, all I needed was this. Okay, because all we're doing is filling in that last column. I just created an extra column and I was trying to show you what the actual coordinates are. Okay, now number 3. Okay, so number 3, it says represent the mapping diagram in 2 different ways. Anybody see a problem with that? First of all, this is not a mapping diagram, this is a table. So we'll say represent the table 2 different ways. So one of those we'll use a mapping diagram, since it's not really one. Okay, so first I have x and y. I write all the x values, 1, 3, 5, 7 is repeated twice, but remember in a mapping diagram you only write out the coordinates once, or the domain arranged once. So 0, 4, 8, 12, 16, and now all we do is connect it with arrows. So 1 goes to 0, 3 goes to 4, 5 goes to 8, 7 goes to 12, but it also goes to 16. And you can make arrows if you want, but it's the same thing. Okay? 2 different ways. Okay, so how about we represent them as points? Okay? Use set notation. Okay, and we'll write out 1, 0, 3, 4, 5, 8, 7, 12. I ran out of room, so I'm going to go to the next line. Make sure you separate it by commas. And then finish it with a brace. Okay, that's set notation. How about another way? How about we just graph it? Okay, I'm not going to graph every point and do it exactly, but on the test I expect you to do a graph that actually shows where they are. Okay, with the scale and the x and the y values. Okay.